Greetings, welcome to the SciFi Pubcast, the podcast that tries to be a pub, and perhaps someday a pub that tries to be a podcast. I'm still, jet lag and hungover from Japan. But anyway, way, as always, we are looking for customers to come visit our bar. If you're passionate about something, you want to be on a podcast, well, please let us know because this bar is all about community. If you want to help us out, please consider leaving a 5-star review wherever you find the show and subscribing to our YouTube channel. My name is Joel. I am the proprietor of the SciFi Pubcast. And with me at the bar today, we have our regular staff members, Keri Simpson and Derek Beebe. Hi, folks.
Hey,
Hello.
Hey, whoa, whoa. That's right, folks. I'm recording again at the campus of Western University in London, Ontario, Canada, in an office full of grad students because I don't have Wi-Fi at home because I'm poor because I use all my money traveling. Such is life. Yes, but let's start with Keri. Keri, all the way from Southern California. How's things in your neck of the woods?
I'm not sure if I'm in LA right now or on Mustafar. It's
Mm,
really freaking hot. Like like suddenly,
all right.
like the last 2 days it's been up in the 90s. It was really, really nice in LA for like up until 2 days ago. And now it's, like I said, I think I've moved to Mustafar.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, spoiler alert, the next Star Wars celebration will be in Los Angeles in
Yes.
2027. Yeah.
Yes. My 50th birthday started early in 2 years.
Yeah. I'm a maybe for that because I'm all out of money and I don't know if I'm going to have enough money to actually go to LA, but maybe.
Mm.
Never say never. So
Well,
there's
maybe,
that.
maybe you could get another panel and that'll
Yeah.
help.
Yeah, if again on the panel, how it works is that you can get the badges for free to get into the show, but it's the hotel cost that's significant.
Mm,
It's because
yeah,
especially
that
because
sucks.
it's downtown LA, right? It's the convention center, which is going
Are
through
they
remodeling.
doing downtown LA or
Yeah.
are they doing Anaheim again?
No, downtown LA.
Oh, oh. Well,
Yeah.
then I can just take the subway in every day.
Maybe I can just living on the subway. I can pitch a tent or something like that. Yeah.
Don't do that.
Okay.
That
I
is
think they
very
arrest you
much
if you pitch a tent
yeah,
on the
that's very
subway.
much
Okay.
frowned
Yeah,
upon
Okay.
yeah.
in LA.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
But
Not New York
but
City.
but it means I don't have to worry about driving in LA, so that is awesome.
Excellent. Excellent. And Derek from the hills of Pennsylvania. Yes, how's things in your world?
I actually just got back from a vacation myself. I went to Florida and
Mm.
Georgia. The big thing, the coolest thing was going to the Georgia Aquarium. It's the largest aquarium in the Western Hemisphere. They have whale sharks, they have manta rays, and these things are like the size of a city bus. They're humongous. And you can go through a glass tunnel and they're like, majestically soaring over your head. And they have a dolphin show and a sea lion show, just like at SeaWorld. It
Okay.
was it's immensely huge and really cool.
Cool.
Less
Any
Enjoy
impressive. Go ahead.
enjoy it before their funding gets cut.
Mhm.
Yeah. Less impressive was the Museum of Coca-Cola next to it.
Okay.
I only went because it was free. It's this huge, like 3-story building. It's humongous inside, and all that's inside are a couple, like museum displays and then a tasting room. It was so weird. It's like this huge, massive building celebrating Coca-Cola, and then there's like a couple little things
Yeah,
inside
yeah.
it.
But Derek, it's just pop art.
It was.
Get it?
Yeah, like the
Oh.
entry room was. Oh, okay, I got you now.
I
See, we don't
think
we don't call it pop around here, so there was a moment where I had to translate.
I mean I'm not sure if it's still in Vegas, but there used to be a Coke museum in Vegas too.
All right.
But this is where Coca-Cola was invented. This is like where this is their global headquarters.
Ah,
That's in Atlanta,
yes.
right? Atlanta, Georgia? Downtown Atlanta?
Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia. Yeah.
Yeah, cool, cool. Yes, with me, I was in Japan for 2 weeks and I've been back for about a week and a bit. And yeah, this is what this episode's going to be about. Me telling the stories about Star Wars Celebration Japan and some Japanese travel stories, and then we'll get to Endor. But just
Ooh,
letting you know,
nice.
yeah, so there's another little housekeeping thing I should mention is that, yeah, so Skype is no longer a thing because Microsoft killed it. So we are using Zoom right now to record this, both audibly by audio. I'm sorry, my speech impediments
Audio
acting
and
up.
video,
Yes, audio and
you mean?
visual, yeah, video. So hopefully we don't run into any tech issues. We tried using Teams, but you can't record on Teams without having a business account. So yes, Microsoft is not
Which
very
sucks.
yeah. Microsoft's not very popular with podcasters right now, especially podcasters who are doing this remotely. Yes.
Hmm.
Eh. Anyway, what else is my life? I'm bogged down in writing dissertation, so I've been told to finish the damn thing. What's going to take me probably a year, realistically, with all the revisions and some obstacles I have to navigate around. But I'm now officially turning into the mad hermit sorcerer wizard guy on campus. I'm actually going to grow my hair long somewhat, and it's funny because I'm bald, but I'm going to have one hell of a mullet. Okay.
Oh no. No.
Okay. Unless, of course, get a job interview or something important, then I have to, clean myself up. But in the meantime, yeah, I host karaoke, I tend bar, and I write my dissertation. And I'm trying not to spend any more money. Well,
Well, at
there's,
least one of us is trying not to spend any money.
yeah. But let's see. Yeah, so I attended a sour celebration in Japan a few weeks ago, and then we have a new. We have Star Wars Andor on Disney Plus, and we're
Hmm.
almost finished the second season. The last three episodes have not dropped. They're dropping on Tuesday, which is in 3 days. So this Sci-Fi Pubcast episode should be out before the finale of the series of Andor. Andor is only lasting 2 seasons, which I think is a good thing. And we have thoughts, right, folks? We have thoughts, strong,
Mhm.
passionate, emotional thoughts. Yeah. Anyway, which way? All right. Enough about me. Let's talk about me, my Japan experiences. Well, go, guys, shoot away, man. Q&A, man. Ask me anything.
Well,
My my biggest go ahead.
I mean, first and obvious question is how was it?
It was good. It was just insane in terms of the amount of people there.
Mm.
I know it's been last couple of years, conventions have gotten really, really busy and packed with people. It's to the point where
Hmm.
it's very difficult to actually walk around in the convention space itself because there's so many people.
Wow.
It was my first time in Asia. So, of course, I did not expect so many people. I knew it's, somewhere in the back of my brain. I knew it like theoretically, but just getting there and taking the subway through Tokyo, the population of Canada fits in in Tokyo, in the greater Tokyo area. It has like 37 million people. It's just insane.
Wow.
Wow.
And Japan is not a very large country. So that carries over through anything. Like in Tokyo, if you want to go someplace down the street, it'll take you an hour, just the way things are. And they have a great train system, but it's so many people there. And you see that at Star Wars convention where everything was just booked up. I was lucky I won some of the lotteries, which is unusual for me for these Star Wars celebrations anymore. So I got to see the main stages for some of the main breaking news. Like I saw Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling,
Nice.
okay, on stage. Like he was born in London, Ontario, Canada. I'm living in London, Ontario, Canada. So these connections to London. That's one of my stories I'll be telling later on in this episode. But it's just weird things like that. Uh, Before I went to Star Wars Celebration, I did 2 days at Disney because I've never been to the Disney parks outside of the United States. So I went to Tokyo Disneyland and I went to Tokyo Disney Sea, and it was insane. It was the same, like the same issue with in terms of just so many people. Rope drop, I got there 2 hours early, and still took me an hour to get to security with so many people there. It
Wow.
Everything was in Japanese for the most part. There's some English signs, so you can navigate your way around using English because you're a foreigner, and they have lots of
Hmm.
foreigners in Japan. It's obvious, but the Japanese people are very respectful, very gracious. It's just they speak Japanese, and I had some really good times. But it being in a foreign country, so populated, where they do things differently. Like, don't get me going on how they do their toilets. Okay, it's like Mr. Roboto. Okay, it's just wow. But it was a fantastic experience that way. It was a very great trip. It was just exhausting. By about day seven, my legs were ready to give out because I've been walking, the city parks and the Star Wars celebration, and then went down to Osaka to do the World Expo. Yeah, yeah, it was something else. But let's go back on the Star Wars celebration. Yeah, you guys been to Star Wars celebrations before, right?
Just one for me, but
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just the one for me as well.
Yeah, this was my 10th one. I think I
10th?
win. Yeah,
Wow.
I've been going to them since 2005. I missed a couple of them throughout the years, but it was my 10th one. And it's just, uh, this was interesting because much of well, the attendees at this celebration were Japanese. So it's the first time at a Star Wars celebration, and that lots of like the families came. It was interesting to see the cultural differences from, say, how the Japanese holds a celebration versus, say, how celebrations are held in California or Florida or Chicago.
I
And
mean,
Aren't
I'm
all the
I'm
presentations in English though?
they were subtitled, and some of them are in Japanese, depending who's speaking. And so, for instance, I sat on a panel where we talked about sentience and droids, organized by James Floyd, Star Wars writer. He has his own podcast called Star Warsologies, I think I want to say. It's an educational thing. James, I've known James for several years now, and yeah, he puts it together. He made the pitch, and he got us in. So the problem is the university stage was in the back of the convention center, so it was in like a back room that only held like 150 people. You think 150 people are a lot of people, but there was hundreds of
mm,
people trying to get in. They cut the line literally as soon as they opened the door. They cut the line because there's so many people trying to get in because was hard to get into any of the stages to see anything unless won a lottery.
wow,
So
that's
Is
insane.
that presentation available online anywhere, Joel?
not yet. According to James, they probably release it as an episode probably next week. He sat in two panels, so he already released the one on the science of Revenge of the Sith. So hopefully there's no tech issues, and he'll release the next one with where you see me basically bringing a realistic point of view over robots and sentience as the so-called legal expert and trying to make puns where half the people in the room do not speak English. Okay. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
it's
I'm
good.
I'm kind of insanely jealous because we've been my teacher's been talking about going to Japan to go train,
Mm.
since and we were supposed to go before the pandemic, but well, pandemic
Yeah.
happened, and
Yeah.
at some point I'm going to get over there for to go visit Aikido World headquarters and get my butt kicked
Yeah.
over there, and then go to Ghibli World because why not?
Oh, yeah. One thing I noticed, so as someone who's living in Canada right now, the cost of going to Japan and just everyday products, it was the same thing as Canada. It wasn't more expensive than usual.
Nice.
So it was cheaper than going to Europe, and it's cheaper than going to the United States. I find when I travel in the U.S., things are more expensive, and that's because of currency differences.
Mm.
But Japan,
Mm.
yeah,
And
and that
probably
was
tariffs
yeah,
too.
and that's even before this current administration.
Mm.
So, yeah. Oh yeah. So on my panel, so we had Chris, who was a historian. And we had a woman, a professor from the University of Tokyo, who's a robotics expert, and she was Japanese. So to answer your question, Derek, way back, was it in English or Japanese? Well, it was in both. She was speaking in both languages as well as. I know James he had some cheat notes, so he did a Japanese introduction, which was great. But yeah, yeah. With me, I can see a Kon'nichiwa, and I can say like arigato, and yeah, these two words got me around Japan for 2 weeks. So, what
I
else?
do a lot of Japanese people know some English?
They
I mean,
know,
certainly in the tourist circuit,
yeah,
but like,
they know enough to give you directions.
hmm,
That's it. Uh, it's very rare where you get when you meet a Japanese person who has such command of the ability to speak English, where you can actually use nuance and humor. So,
Mm.
out of my experiences, I met one who had fairly good grip on that, and she was still learning. And of course, she was the bartender at the hotel in Osaka. That's another story I'm going to get to shortly. But yeah, her English was fairly good, and yeah, she laughed at my jokes, but she was probably paid to laugh at my jokes. Oh well. Okay.
What about the Disney cast members? Do they speak English?
Y- it's the same. So Tokyo is an area where if you want to, it's probably the highest percentage of Japanese folks who can speak some English. Once you're outside of Tokyo, not so much. And it's only because Tokyo is the capital city and it's the industrial financial center of Japan. Uh,
Mm.
but you try to do everything's automated. Like you go to a Japanese restaurant that looks like a pub, and you sit down, and there's a tablet where you order on the tablet. It varies between different restaurants, but then you have to hit the English button, or you go to the subway or the train station, you try and get tickets, and you have to hit the English button. And the translations, it's not 100%. It's some funky way that if you are native Japanese, how the language affects the way you translate, because sometimes it's literal, sometimes it just doesn't make sense to a native English speaker,
Mm.
but it is what it is. Yeah, it's cool. It's a really cool country.
I've heard that the Disney parks in Japan are the most beautiful of any in the world.
Yeah,
I want to get there one day.
so Tokyo
Mm.
Disneyland is basically a carbon copy of Disneyland in Anaheim with some variations to it. But what's different is that all the rides are Japanese. I took the Jungle Cruise, and of course, everything's in Japanese.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't laugh one. I didn't hear one pun, but that's because I'm English speaking. They seem to be having fun, which was an awesome experience. Or that Shanted Tiki Room was another thing, right? These old rides is like, but it's Japanese.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm sure it's funny in Japanese, but I mean, the Jungle Cruise, at least, in the last time I was at Disneyland, it's like you have to wait until like right before the park closes, and then
Yeah.
the ride-ups get really punchy and start reverting to the old scripts and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when it gets fun.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I did Star Tours, and the first time in my life, and I've been to many, many Disney parks over the years, I was the Rebel Spy. Yes.
Excellent.
That's a bucket list item crossed off. Thank you, Tokyo Disneyland.
I'm pretty sure I've
Nice.
never been the Rebel Spy, and I've ridden that thing dozens of times.
Oh man.
I
It,
haven't
it-
ridden it enough since they started doing the whole Rebel Spy thing.
yeah.
Which was
Uh,
about 15 years ago.
I know, I know. My best friend, we used to have the old shtick memorized,
yeah.
and that was fun.
What else was? Oh yeah, Disney Sea. So that's
Oh yeah, that's the one that's supposed to be the most beautiful park in the world.
it is the
Yeah.
most beautiful park in the world, but expect tens of thousands of people there, and it's very hard to actually get on rides. I
Mm.
managed to get on the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride, which is amazing, only because I hightailed it, and once I got in the park, I ran there and I waited maybe 45 minutes and I got in. So I was happy because I
Nice.
get the one ride I really wanted to see. Yeah. It's thematically, it is so beautiful, awesome, well done. The upkeep on the park is amazing as well. It's just everywhere you see are people, and so that's a bit, it, it, it's it's busier than the American parks. I think most days.
Hmm.
But still, it's amazing. Like even like if you go, if your thing is the more of the Cinderella fairy tale stuff, right? Okay, there's a land, and there's a huge land of that stuff. If you want to see Skull and the pirate ship from Peter Pan,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
yeah, oh no, Peter Pan, they have
Oh, Peter
one,
Pan.
yeah,
Oh, nice.
and yeah, it's something you need to experience. I didn't stay at a Disney hotel. I stayed at no, I stayed at what was it? Radisson, not Radisson, Radisson. What did I stay at?
Yeah.
We're a chain hotel. Anyway, there's a bank of hotels right on the subway, like a Disney line, and it was easy to get to. And you look out across the Tokyo Bay, and it was awesome. Except for about day three, then I saw that there's a Japanese naval frigate in the bay, going, just sitting there. Yeah, it makes what's happening there?
One
Well,
last question, and I'll stop derailing you.
Yeah,
Did you go on that Pirates of the Caribbean ride that is like next gen technology, or is that in China? I'm not sure.
that's in Shanghai.
Oh, okay, sorry. Never mind.
And unfortunately, the one at Tokyo Disneyland was closed for renovations. So no.
mm.
But what else? Yeah, it was interesting. But by that time, I'm just exhausted, right? It's like, oh my God. Ah,
Yeah, I would love to see the all the Disneys around the world, but I am very hesitant to travel somewhere that's not an English speaking country, just like, having to get around and everything, and
yeah.
that's what I worry about.
Well, you can go in probably in the next couple of years to United Arab Emirates, right? It's the new park
Yeah.
they're building in was it Abu
Abu
Dhabi?
Dhabi,
Yeah, yeah,
Abu Dhabi, UAE.
yeah. That's actually a really good move by Disney, I think. So
Well, not so much for the human rights issues, but yeah.
yeah. Hmm. Anyway, which way? What else? Oh, still in Japanese. So I went down to the World Expo. So expos is still a thing. The next one's in Serbia next year, and it was the same story, just packed to the gills with people. And that this thing
I'll
runs
bet.
to October. So it runs like it opened the week before. So it's it's open for 5 6 months. And so you have the Canadian Pavilion, you have the American Pavilion, you have every pavilion on the face of the planet, basically. There's a country. You have corporations with their own pavilions. It was insane as well. And that's in Osaka.
Wow.
Osaka is the old part of Japan, where you have where the shogunate was. So you have
Mm.
back in the day we have all that. I didn't go to Kyoto, which is unfortunate because that's the real traditional part of Japan. Just didn't make it down there. That's 2 hours away from Osaka. Uh, that's on my next trip if I ever make it back to Japan.
If you ever make it back, yeah.
Yeah,
Now, the World Expo is where things like Disney's It's a Small World and Carousel of Progress were originally created for, right? So
that's right.
are there rides at the World Expo, or
Not particularly. It's more like pavilions and theater or films and walkthroughs.
Mm.
But they built this massive wooden structure, which is about I don't know, a mile or a kilometer in circumference, where you could walk above that. Just Google World like Expo Saka Expo, and you see this architecture stuff. Amazing. Just you literally you walk and you walk and you walk. I can't do it justice, especially right now because I worked last night. I hosted karaoke at the grad club last night, which I do every Friday. So yeah, I'm still on my second cup of coffee. Okay.
Completely
Mm.
understandable, Joel.
Uh, okay, so let's do a funny story. So in Osaka, I'm staying downtown Osaka. I'm staying at a Merit Olaf Hotel. So it's a fairly Western hotel. It's
Hmm.
good. So it's kind of like a trendy Western thing. So the first night, I get there. I'm tired. I got to the bar. There's a pool table there. The people around, it's mostly Europeans and Canadians. I didn't see any Americans. And the woman tending the bar, she was about 23, 24 years old, Japanese national, and her name's May, and we hit it off, right? She could speak adequate English to translate.
Hmm.
And because it's a Western style trendy hotel bar, you have some of the local, young, like early 24-year-olds, like come in to check it out. So I met two Japanese guys, okay? They're both like 23, 24, working for TikTok. So we sat at the
Oh, wow.
bar, okay? So me, the bartender, is translating our conversation from me speaking English to these guys who work for TikTok, right? Okay. And we had a great time. So we got into drinking heavily. And I made the mistake, and I said this, hey, I've never tried Japanese whiskey before. So by the end of the night, I've tried Japanese whiskey, and they've had lots of different shots of bourbon and rye. So next day, I went to the expo, got back to the hotel late. I'm tired. I had my dinner there, and May's still working the bar. Great. Day three,
Mm-hmm.
did stuff in Osaka. I went out. I went a couple just up the street. There's a bar called I think 1795 Aging Bar. It's a basically Western style. Well, it looks like it was a Western style pub, but it's a Japanese style pub. So I sat at the bar. I ordered beer through the tablet on the bar itself. Right, I had dinner there. Literally, an older guy and his adult son, white guys, walked to the bar, and the guy is wearing a University of Western Ontario t-shirt. So my University of Western Ontario. So literally, I am on the opposite side of the world, literally speaking. I'm on the board of governors of this university. I'm a well-known character on campus, and this guy walks in wearing a Western University t-shirt. What are the odds of that happening? Well, pretty
It's a
good.
small world.
It's a small world, I know.
Apparently, yeah.
So, I had a brief conversation with him, and then I went back to the hotel bar. May, the bartender, well, she's on the customer side of the bar drinking cocktails now. She's not working. Okay. So I didn't even recognize her because I just sat down and I didn't expect her to be on that side of the bar. So I had a beer with her and the place is now chock full with Canadians. And so the guy and his adult son, the guy who was wearing the Western University t-shirt, he walks to the same hotel bar, taps me on the shoulder. Hey, we're staying here too. And we had a conversation. And literally, the guy's an alumni, but he literally lives 10 miles away from where I live. He lives in Byron, Ontario,
Wow.
which is like a neighborhood of London, which is kind of well known for being richy. But it's like it's a small world. So
That's
of
crazy.
course I tweeted it out or put it on my social media, and Western Alumni picked it up the week after, like a couple of days ago. So I wrote a little blurb in the next alumni magazine if it gets published. Yeah, telling the story because I can't remember the guy's name. Literally, I know he was a supplier to I think tool and die suppliers shops, something like that. But yeah, it was a good night too. Uh,
It must
yes.
be if you can't remember it.
It's like George or Steve or Dave, or it's one of those things. It's like, what? What are the odds? Oh yeah, I was in a bit of a pissy mood before all that happened because I spent an hour and a half trying to find the Godzilla store in Osaka. So they have dedicated Godzilla stores. And
Nice.
some one way you get around as an English speaker in Japan with the trains, the subways, and all that good stuff is by using Google Maps. And of course, Google Map gave me the wrong information, and I'm losing my shit because I'm in underground suburbia, like a suburb, like pathways, trying to find the stupid Godzilla store, and I can't find it. And then I realized about an hour into it, wait, the store has moved. It's now like literally a half hour to the south.
Oh,
So I went the next day before I got on the train. But so I found the Godzilla store eventually, bought some t-shirts. Yeah, this is it.
nice, nice. I mean that's not sure it's better or worse than Waze keep telling me how to get to the Getty by making a right turn on the 405. Like, no, that doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And it turned out the Godzilla store was actually part of a department store area. So you had to go in the department store to go up to like the fifth floor, and they had like the pop culture floor full of different pop culture franchises and brands. So yeah, that's the Godzilla store.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, and in Tokyo, there's basically on a major high rise. There's a life-size Godzilla head looking down.
Hmm.
Really cool. And they
Cool.
have a little mini Godzilla store as well in the hotel there. And actually themed cocktails at the hotel bar. Godzilla themed cocktails, if you're paying attention.
Nice. Nice.
I didn't know about that hotel inside until the day after. Then I had to go back to experience it because someone told me, hey, there's actually an inside to this place. Really? I gotta see that.
I'm pretty sure somewhere there's a theme park where you get to zip line through Godzilla's mouth and it's like his
Oh,
full-sized head.
yeah? Yeah, I
Yeah.
love
Don't know
that.
where it is though.
And you have to go through before he eats you? What?
Mm, smashing, smashing. Uh, so okay. Before I went back to Tokyo from Osaka, I went down to Hiroshima, or how Americans like to say it, Hiroshima, right? Okay. That's where they dropped the atomic bomb, first atomic bomb during the Second World War in 1945, which led to the surrender of Japan the week after. Okay. This is the first of two bombs they dropped. Of course, this is a precious, very uh, special place because of the death and misery and suffering that happened there with the results of the atomic bomb being dropped by the Americans on them. And to me, I need to visit that because, well, one, I'm in law, two, I'm a history guy, and three, my grandfather dropped a lot of bombs on the Japan fighting with the U.S. Army Air Corps in the Second World War based out of the Aleutian Islands. So it's kind of like I needed to see that. So I went to the Peace Museum. I saw the atomic dome building, all that stuff. Very precious. If you go to Japan, definitely worth the trip down to Hiroshima. And Hiroshima is a large city. It's like 10 million people. Everything's rebuilt. So even
Yeah.
the place, that exact spot where the bomb hits, it's apartment buildings now next to the park.
Oh wow.
No radiation left at all.
I'm sure there's radiation, but it's not. People still live there. So
Hmm.
yeah.
It's
Um,
not fatal now, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. So that's the sad part of the story, and yeah, go see it. But there's also a little funny part which just blew my mind. Okay, here I am. I'm trying to take a picture of the monument, the peace monument, right? And there's Japanese school kids lined up, and I got out of the museum, and I'm here I am with my stupid iPhone, 10, no, 5-year-old iPhone, trying to take pictures of it, and I see there's a bunch of dignitaries. There's a group of dignitaries. And,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a retired RCMP officer. I worked VIP gigs before. You can see some security, not a lot of security, some security. You see an aide de camp wearing a naval uniform. It's like, who is this guy? Probably some ambassador. Okay. I took a couple of shots from far away. And of course, I went the opposite direction because I want nothing to do with that, right? Okay. Okay. They left the Japanese school group kids. They clapped politely and all that. And I went up to the memorial because a person laid a reef, and it turned out the person who laid a reef was a king of Denmark, the
Wow.
king of Denmark, Frederick the Tenth.
Jeez.
Okay, so
Nice.
he's my
Nice.
age. He's been on the throne for I think 5 months or something like that. Like literally, some part of my brain knew Denmark was a monarchy, but the whole thing, like, wait, so there's a king of Denmark? What the fuck? I had to go to Japan to see the king of Denmark, and that was
He must have been
confirmed.
there for the Star Wars convention.
Yeah, must be. And I was in town for 2 days, and we made the trip down to Hiroshima to lay a reef. So that's good on him. But the whole
Nice.
absurdity of it is going. I saw the king of Denmark in Japan. What? And it's confirmed by media sources. So it's just not me saying it. Yeah, the media reported on this. It's like, oh my God,
Wow.
insane, insane. Okay, a few other things about Japan before we move over to Endor. So you can get cans of beer out of vending machines. So that was helpful.
You can get lots of things out of vending machines in
Yeah,
Japan.
yeah. You get cigarettes out of vending machines over there. That's neat. Since I've done a lot of traveling in the last couple of years, I have status with Marriott, so I'm a higher up Bonvoy member, so I got access to these hotel lounges if it's was a big one. So they had a self-serving beer machine where you put a glass under the tap and hit the button, and it pours itself.
Hmm.
Nice.
Oh wow! I discovered that my first night in Japan, second night. It's like what? Home, sweet home. Okay. The other thing is, which is unusual well, what I found to be unusual is that in Japan, when you eat and drink, you usually find a place to sit down. It's considered rude to actually drink and eat and walk at the same time. Where in Canada and in North America, we do it all the time.
Hmm.
And so it's hard to find like a Western style pub where you can just sit down, have a beer, and have some munchies. 'Cause everything's Japanese style. Even
Hmm.
McDonald's is like that. So that was interesting because where do you go? Oh, okay. You can sit in the park and be a Westerner and just drink beer if you want. You can drink beer on the subway if you wanted to. It's just that to me, I miss having the ability to go to a pub or a bar. You think you take it for granted, then you go play a place like Japan and where it's not a thing. They do exist, but it's not a thing.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was Japan. I can go on, but that's the highlights. Got any questions?
Can you
Derek?
drink while walking?
Well, you can't. No one's going to stop you, but because you're a Gaijin, you're a Westerner, right? Okay, it's like but they don't do that
Look,
because yeah,
so like nobody's like sipping a soda walking down the sidewalk.
no, not usually.
Wow, interesting.
Like literally, the only people who drink coffee in the subways are Americans and Canadians.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
How long were you there for?
2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say this is a lot of events.
Yeah, and it's funny because well, at least around Disneyland, I met mostly Australians, not Americans. Now you go to the Disney
Hmm.
parks, there, you see the occasional American, but it's a lot of Australians. So, yeah,
Is the closest one for them.
yeah, uh, t- yeah. I just can't believe I met people from London, Ontario, and I saw the King of Denmark in Japan. Yeah, yeah. And of course I sampled Japanese whiskey.
See,
Uh,
I didn't have to go to Japan to sample Japanese whiskey. I know people who get good alcohol from Japan
yeah, this is good.
and then they share.
Yeah, good. I had sake eventually, but at the airport, waiting for my plane to before flew back. But I had sake before. Japanese whiskey, it's very similar to Scotch because they took the Scotch recipes, I think in the 1970s, and they made it their own.
Hmm.
Yeah. But enough about me talking about my tours. I'm very broke now. There's no more big trips planned for me. Uh, it seems I am going back down to Disney World in October for a couple of days because my brother Sean, well, he just bought a timeshare with the Disney Vacation Club, so he's now a DVC member. So I'll spend a couple of days with him. And he'll go to the parks. I'll sit on the beach at the Poly and yeah, work on my dissertation. That's the plan. And then, of course, in February, I'm going back on the Star Trek cruise. So it'll be my fourth cruise because I go with Randall Graham, friend of the show, and also my PhD supervisor. Okay. So that's it. I'm broke and I'm looking for better employment. Okay. But
Well,
I live one life, and what a life it's been, especially the last couple of years. But let's pivot. If I can't even spell the word pivot right, but pivot
I
to
noticed that you
and
wrote privet.
I was like, whatever. Let's pivot to Endor because what a show! It's been my favorite Star Wars content since Disney bought it, basically, except for season one of The Mandalorian, which I also like. So let's start off with our general impressions of the series Andor. Let's go with Derek. You first.
It's not my favorite Star Wars series because for me, Star Wars is ultimately about the Force, Jedi versus Sith, lightsaber battles. So, to me, this is not the quintessential Star Wars story, but it's certainly well made and thematically it's very important with the story of tyranny and oppression and fighting for your freedom, especially these days. So yeah, it's a very well made show. I really like it. It's not my favorite show, and I'm often frustrated by the stories that we are getting because I was hoping for more of a central view of how the rebellion operates. I mean, like in the entire first season, he's not even in the rebellion. He's just, a guy that's kind of like bumping up against them on occasion. And then even in season two, what we've seen so far, even though he's doing rebellion missions, he's not working with other people. He's just like on his own doing something. So I was really hoping to see more of how the Rebel Alliance operates, and we definitely haven't gotten that so far. But aside from that, like I said, good story, well made, really enjoying it.
Cool. Carrie, your first impressions.
I mean, they are not pulling their punches especially not this season, which I appreciate, especially right now. I've been saying to a couple of people that the biggest it's not an issue with Andor itself, it's that Okay, The Handmaid's Tale has been dropping on Monday nights,
Mm.
and then three episodes of Andor drop the next day. So between, you know, Handmaid's Tale and Andor, I watch all four episodes within like 3 days, and then I'm just like curled up in a ball going,
Yeah.
how do people not understand how fascism works by now?
Oh God. Yeah. I really enjoy it because that's where my brain works. That's been my experience, the whole spy business and history business and just real
Mm,
politic business. I like how the show treats politics in terms of how to radicalize people in terms of rebellions. You know,
hmm
what makes people take up arms and use violence to affect political change? Because that's a huge
makes
step.
people, or what makes people, try to affect political change by nonviolent means,
Yeah,
and then fail, unfortunately, like on Gorman.
yeah.
That was disturbing. I mean, that it was very necessary, but it's also disturbing.
Yeah, and I think Tony Gilroy took a lot. He mined a lot of real historic events. You know, looking at say the French
hmm
Revolution, or look at countermeasures done by Soviet Union or the 1930s Germany during the different
hmm
ideological conflicts leading to the rise of the National Socialist Party. Uh, you see examples of, say, American history with the Ku Klux Klan, especially in the 1920s and 30s. You see
hmm
resistance cells. You see the elites not wanting to concede any power or their position in society because they live by fear. Like, this is what
hmm
happens when fear drives your existence.
Well, and to Derek's point about how we're not seeing, how the rebellion works more broadly. And if you watch this in concert with rebels, it's like there isn't an organized movement yet.
Mm.
There are pockets of resistance that are eventually coming together, but there's no like central command really, um of the
Yeah, but
rebellion yet. There
in the last three episodes, we've seen Yavin as a fully operating military base already. We just like jumped right to that. I would have loved to have seen the story of like how, all the Yavin group, how Yavin got, settled and came together and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, okay, I will give you that because I wasn't sure that was Yavin when Cassian crashed there, because I mean there are lots of planets in the Star Wars universe that have big big temples and stuff. But I'd like to know how it went from those, you know, bunch of guys that just crashed there to the to being a fully formed rebel base. And yeah, I mean there's like 2 years in between, 2 3 years in between that. But yeah,
Yeah.
some more nuts and bolts about that. Maybe someone else will do a series about, how we went from Yavin, 4 years before the Battle of Yavin to 2 years, 3 years before, or 1 year before the Battle of Yavin.
Mm.
That three
Yeah.
year
And
period.
if we go with our 1990s Star Wars continuity, those temples were made by the Sith and they have like, haunted Sith ghosts in them and stuff. So like that could have been a really cool. I know like this series is grounded and is going to do that sort of thing, but it would have been really cool to show like Cassian exploring the temples and like not that we see Force ghosts, but like, maybe it's like creepy and spooky and like, oh, something
Mm.
moved or there was a trap that was set. Like that would have been a cool story.
Or maybe not Cassian specifically, but like some, like, in my head, the guys that Cassian ran into when he stopped there on in episode 2 were might have been haunted by like the ghost of Exar Kun or something,
Mm.
and that's
Yeah.
what made them kind of crazy.
I'm interested in how the rebellion how do they hand out military commissions? But it seems like if you're halfway competent, you get commissioned as an officer.
Yeah, Lando was a general in
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. He betrayed them.
Yeah, exactly. Or Han Solo, right? Okay, it's like yeah, but like in the land of the blind, the one-eyed king is king, right? Okay.
Well, and it's like,
And,
but who's actually in charge? Because like we've got Saw Gerrera doing his thing.
yeah,
You got Luthen, kind of like pulling strings and tugging on threads over here. We know Bail Organa is doing something else. Um, Fulcrum, like Ahsoka and the other Fulcrums are probably out doing something, but it's all still a hodgepodge. Like
yeah.
like, and we haven't even gotten to because this is gonna end like right before Rogue One. That we are gonna see the destruction of Alderaan, and that being like the thing that pulls everyone together and go and makes it into like a full-fledged you know
Hmm.
military opposition. But
Tony
I just
Gilroy
I just
just
hope I just hope Bix did not go to Alderaan, please.
yeah.
Like Bix left Yavin. And like, please tell me she's not going to Alderaan. Please tell me she's not going to Alderaan.
Mhm.
Or Jeddah. Please don't go
Or
anywhere
Dantooine.
near. Or Dantooine at least is not going to be hit by the Death Star. Danto Dantooine is like farmland and stuff, maybe. Who knows?
Tony Gilroy did just recently say online that there was a episode idea that they had to cut for budget reasons. It was going to be like an alien horror movie where there were
Ooh.
supply ships coming to Yavin, and one of them had a K2 droid on it, and the
Yeah.
K2 droid was like stalking through the ship, killing everyone, and that was going to be the origin of K2SO. That
Hmm.
would have been cool,
Hmm.
but oh well.
Hmm.
I would have liked that to be like a HK droid. It's
Yeah.
like the great grand progeny of HK-47. Get him on Yavin, get one of those on Yavin and stuff. But
Side note, I'm actually playing KOTR 2 right now,
Hmm.
the second one.
oh, nice,
Hmm.
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, that's why
I
you've
I
been.
I started I started I started through a replay of KOTOR 1, and then I got distracted by Baldur's Gate 3.
Hmm.
I may go back to KOTOR at some point.
Hmm. I just want to bring up this dance club mix. Was it Nimos from
Yamos,
Nimos? Well, I've been listening to that nonstop. What a great track that is.
I
I
love
don't
that
I don't
track.
Wait,
even like dance music, but this track, yeah, it's doing something to me on a spiritual level.
I got I bought the soundtracks for season one, and all three versions that run through season one are on the soundtrack.
Right.
I'm probably going to pick up like I'm looking for the single for the full track or something, but
Oh, wow. So yeah, Andor. I think it's great, but it's for adults, and there's not a lot of hope, but rebellion's a building
no, it's
hope.
very bleak.
Yeah,
It's bleak, but I think we need a bit of bleakness to like illustrate how bad it's getting.
yeah. They're going to destroy a planet because they need a natural resource in order to use that to build the Death Star, help build the Death
Yeah.
Star.
Hmm.
So they're going to forcibly remove the local population either through violence or just outright kidnapping, and yeah, in order to make it happen.
Hmm.
speaking of hope, one thing that I thought was really cool was when, he goes to see the force healer on Yavin, and she kind of like she's
Yeah,
drawn to him for some reason, and she
yeah.
says, "You're a messenger," because he's the one who will transmit the message of the Death Star plans. That was such a cool little
Yeah,
Yeah, that
and
was fun.
that's one reason why Bix left him in the last episode. Well, spoiler, we're talking spoilers. It's okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because he needs to Cassian needs to be part of the rebellion for the rebellion to be successful.
Hmm.
That's just the special, that's what the Force healer, indicated. Yeah,
I'm semi disappointed that we are getting more of K2SO
yeah,
than
Yeah, I
the
wanted him
like the
sooner.
next three episodes. I wanted to see him sooner, but I
Yeah.
I I, I acknowledge that I'm greedy that way, and that Alan Tudyk is a very busy man. What with you know season four of Resident Alien and whatever
And
and
every Disney
whatever
movie ever made.
every Disney movie ever made, and he's apparently like voicing like five characters in the new DCU. So yeah,
yeah.
at least five.
Hey, this cast, I'm so impressed with this cast. Like, there's multiple people just blow me out of the water, and I don't care for the whole star business, celebrity business. I've never been that person. I don't care about celebrity, but people like Guinevere O'Reilly or Denise O'Gow, I think you have to say her name. Like, I've seen them in interviews, and like they're amazing. They're really nice
Yeah.
people. Okay, it's like even the actors I've never seen before in anything. It's like they're really having the time of their lives. That's great.
Hmm.
Speaking of acting moments, one of the moments in season two that really struck a chord with me more than I realized at the time was the speech that Saw gives to the new recruit when he's like huffing the gas,
Yeah,
and he's like, "Maybe I am crazy. You have to be crazy to rebel." Like that whole monologue there. I thought that was a really cool, powerful moment.
yeah. It's like when you rebel, you become a radical. How radical are you? Because this could be more people who are more radical than you who will consider you the enemy, right? It's
Yeah,
just French Revolution 101.
yeah. But I mean, as much as I like the character of Saw, they're kind of they. What freaks me out about Saw is he's kind of going the route of Marco Inaros, and we know like Saw's not going to survive long enough to get to the point where he's chucking asteroids at Imperial targets and stuff like that. But
Uh,
he's getting there. We know he's getting there.
yeah.
I really wish we got a lot more of him in season two. I'm really hoping that he figures prominently in the final arc because I would love to see the story of how exactly he breaks away from the mainstream Rebel Alliance. Like, what does he do that is too extreme for them? And hopefully it involves Luthen and Cassian somehow. I'm hoping that's like what the final story is about.
Yeah. How do
I
you think?
saw I I saw a meme where it's like showing the pictures of people who are not in Rogue One, and it's pretty much everyone. It's like, I mean, Cyril's already dead. Uh, what's her name? We have no idea. Maybe she ends up on the Death Star and she gets blown up that way. But we don't know what happens to Bix. We don't know what happens to Luthen yet. I have a feeling most of those people are not going to survive the next three episodes.
Yeah, I assume that Dedra and Luthen will be killed
Yeah.
somehow in the final episodes.
Hey, things. Have you found Cassian's sister yet?
No.
Yeah, that's so weird. It's like she was so prominent in the first three episodes, and then they never mentioned her again. It was like, what was up with that storyline? Like we had flashbacks and everything, and then it just gets forgotten.
Yeah.
That annoyed me.
Well, I think he never finds his sister, which is part of the part of the issue. Um,
Or
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 what would you?
Dedra Murrow is his sister. Shocker!
Nah,
It's too
that's
obvious.
too obvious.
You grew up
Too
in an
obvious.
in an imperial orphanage. Think about
Well,
it.
if it's his biological sister, she should be, Hispanic in appearance.
Yeah,
It
this is
was
Star
her
Eh,
Wars.
biological sister, right?
Yeah, but
Derek, I'm Hispanic, and you don't. I'm, you know, way too pale.
yeah,
Really?
That could be, yes. That could be an interesting twist. I don't know that we have that kind of time.
yeah.
I keep hoping for some kind of like argument between Thrawn and Krennic
Mm.
to break out, because I just want to see Thrawn in the show somewhere, but I don't think that's going to happen either.
Does that time frame work out with Rebels? When does he disappear in the cartoon? Is that like right before
Right
New
before the
Hope?
Battle of Yavin.
Oh,
Like,
okay, cool.
well, okay, because they light it up. Okay, the way it works out for that last episode this week, um, Cassian gets Mon Mothma off of Coruscant. She's going to be going with Gold Squadron, presumably to meet up with the Ghost.
Right.
When she gets on the Ghost, that's when she's going to do her other speech, where she asks the galaxy to join her in rebelling against the Empire. So that's what's happening now. And that is actually what's surprising to me, is that they have not mentioned anything that's going on with Lothal at all. It's like
Yeah,
they
that's a good
don't
point.
like either there are so many pockets of rebellion that Lothal is just like a drop in the bucket that Thrawn is decided needs to deal with, like
I get
or
the impression that
Krennic
Tony
doesn't.
Gilroy,
I'm guessing Krennic doesn't think it's important, or Krennic and the ISB don't think it's important enough to give much energy to at the moment.
I get the feeling that Tony Gilroy feels that the cartoons are beneath him to acknowledge because, like, he basically said in an interview, like, yeah, we know it was inconsistent with Rebels. We didn't care.
Mm.
All right. What do we want after Andor? And then is finished, right? So we get a conclusion of some type or resolution after these three episodes drop this coming week. And then what's up for Star Wars? What's the next big series? Because they have a
I
couple films in production or pre-production.
I don't. I mean, Ahsoka season 2 is filming, so that will be awesome.
Mm.
I hope.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. That's my Star Wars.
How about Starfighter? Do you think that's gonna be like a Rogue One squadron thing, or that's gonna be different?
That could. I don't know. I'm trying not to. I'm trying not to get greedy
Mm.
about stuff, and just whatever whatever they want to give us, as long as it's good storytelling and fits in the Star Wars universe. That I'm trying not to be greedy. I really want to know what happened to B2 EMO.
Mm.
B2
Um,
what?
the little boxy red droid from that
Oh,
they
Andor.
left
Okay.
from Andor, that they left
Yeah.
on that one planet, and and we have not heard from again, because I mean we know what's going to happen to K2SO. So someone tell me what happened to B2. Like
Mm.
maybe Bix went back for him.
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
I'm just hoping that the movies come to exist because we've had so many things announced that, died in the crib. So,
Yeah.
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 I mean, obviously we're definitely getting the Mandalorian movie because it's filmed. We've seen footage that's happening no matter what.
Hmm.
And anything after that, I'll wait and see whether it actually comes into existence or not.
Mm.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Any last thoughts before we close our doors to the good old Sci-Fi Pubcast?
I don't think so.
I'm very excited for the ending of Andor. And if you didn't watch Rebels season 3, episode 18, Secret Cargo, immediately after last week's Andor, you should do that because that shows what happened with Mon Mothma immediately after that
Yeah.
episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, oh, oh. I was remiss. Derek,
Oh,
I didn't ask you about our kitchen.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
I'm
Well,
sorry. I'm
that's
sorry. It's been a month. I'm still jet lagged from Japan. How is the Sci-Fi Pubcast kitchen doing?
that's because I turned the kitchen over to you this week because
Uh,
you were over in Japan, you were experiencing all this cuisine and stuff. So I let you do the food, and I was going to do the bartending this week.
all right.
And you mentioned Japanese rice wine, not on the podcast, but earlier. So I decided to make some of my own rice wine. It's 5% alcohol, 95% water, and just like a tequila bottle, there's like a grain of rice at the bottom.
Hmm.
And just like with tequila, you're not supposed to drink it, so leave it in the bottle.
Right.
That's what
Right.
rice wine is, right?
Right.
No, that's
Okay.
not what rice wine is.
And so you can get it through our vending machine, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Also, I got some sushi at the gas station down the road too, in case you ran out of your food.
Oh, good, good, good. All right, right, right. Thanks, Derek. And I'm sorry I didn't ask you earlier in the show, but at least we got it
I
on
didn't want to interrupt you.
record. Oh, God. Keri, any last thoughts?
No, just Andor's been, just firing on all cylinders. They're not pulling any punches, and um, no, it doesn't matter if we've spoiled the heck out of it. Go watch it.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, so the Sci-Fi Pubcast is we're trying to get episodes out monthly, and it's going to happen because, well, I'm not traveling anymore. So, yeah, hopefully. And if something comes out, they'll do, whatever, whatever. I'll just pay more money to host it. I have lots of money still, right? Oh, God. All right, closing. This show is available on most podcast platforms and on YouTube. Subscribe today. You can contact us by email at management@scifipubcast.space. We love hearing from our customers. All right, social media. Keri, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at whatever social media platforms I'm on at Keri Blackfire42. That's Keri Blackfire42.
And what other podcasts are you on?
Yeah, you can. I also do the Cape Chronicles, Enter the Dojo, and DC Talk over on the Random Chatter Network.
Excellent. And Derek, where can people find you on the internet if you exist on the internet?
I pretty much use Blue Sky, Derek J. Beebe, and you can go to my website, derekbeebe.com, and I have 6 fantasy books, a complete fantasy series available on Amazon.com, and eventually the sci-fi series will get published, hopefully at
Ex-
the end of this year.
Excellent. Outstanding. With me, I'm on social media. Just you can find me. It's usually my real name, which is Joel_Welch or Joel Welch. There's a variation of that. They're in different platforms. Yeah, I'm still do the social media. I collect friends, because I need friends in my life. But that's
Oh
it.
boy.
Okay. It's closing time. Take care. Please make it home safe. We'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Music provided courtesy of Logan Rathbone. Podcast logo by Drew M. Copyrighted Joe Welch. Listen responsibly, and we can't wait for your next visit to our fine establishment. Cheers.